really the gem, the center of the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, every chapter is yoga, every chapter is considered Upanishad, but why is this chapter so important? Right now, you know that mostly observing Hindus, they already know a number of verses from this chapter, even if they have never opened the Bhagavad Gita book. So there's like an all context book, all context chapter. But other than that, this is in this chapter you can literally trace Upanishads in every single stanza. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopal nandana partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gita amritam mahat. It's a proverb, it's a saying that all the Upanishads are like the cows, Krishna being the cowherd, okay? And then the Gita is the nectar, the milk. So this the metaphor suggests that this is the essence from the entire Vedic literature. So every verse we can go as deep as we like, and I'm humbly, you know, like among friends, I'm not claiming any of my authorities. I just read Sanskrit, and our goal is not about knowing me. If I'm wrong, Shastras are the pramanas. I have to tell that every time because we are losing that track. That the real authority lies in the Shruti, and then even the authority of these texts come from the Shruti, and if there is any contradiction to Shruti, either there is no authority or we will have to trace back the authority in the Shruti, Shruti being the Vedas. So how can these philosophical concepts and theological concepts be grounded on the Shrutis? That will be my objective of conversation today. The first metaphor is an easy metaphor of a tree dangling upside down, with the roots being on top and the branches falling down. The tree of life and tree metaphor is a universal metaphor. Every single culture, you know, the Taoist or Jewish, any culture you go to, you find this metaphor of a tree of life, metaphor in every single culture. The way Bhagavad Gita uses this metaphor is to describe the roots being up, the roots being the Brahman, and repeatedly again and again called Purushottama. And we'll discuss when the term itself comes, Purushottama, the reason for calling Purushottama. This is the tree in which the root is up and the branch is down, and what Chandamsiya Parnani. So the leaves are the Vedas, or the speech, basically. Chandas is referring to our language, the communication that's happening through the speech. So there is consciousness being the root, the basis, the foundation. Chandas referring to speech being the external extension, manifestation of everything we deal with in our life. So that's the human reality is grounded on Vach, the speech, not just on physical things. We constitute our reality. You see, like the same food, we have 20 different names for the presentation. You know, like by making a different shape, we have a name, and we mix a little bit different and we have a different name. So this is human creation. That's at the bottom. And then the top goes Veda, Chandas. It's like a Shruti itself is always referring to the pure state of mind, pure state of consciousness. And down there, the one drastic change in the metaphor comes is like this is an ongoing tree of coming down the roots, and so this has to be cut. So in that sense, the tree becomes an obstacle rather than a regular well-being of a tree which needs to be nourished. Sometimes sansara vriksha, So the tree of samsara becomes not the tree of life or the tree of wisdom. So this is a different type of tree. And even though this is a different type of tree, you will see Dvavimau Purusho Loke. We'll go to that verse. Dva Suparna Saja Sakaya Samanam Briksham Parhyaswajate Tayoreka Pipalam Swadvati Anasnanyo Avichagasit Upanishad. So we'll discuss that. I don't want to jump in there. But the first thing needs to be clarified that this is not the type of a tree you want to cultivate. This is a type of tree we have been cultivating, and the more we cultivate this particular type of tree, the more we tie ourselves down to the world, do not go up to the roots. Na rupa masyeha tathopa labhyate nanto na chadir na jasam pratishtha asanga shastrena. That is why I'm saying dridena chitva. So there is this chidi to cut. How do you cut this tree? Tree cutting is a bad metaphor in our modern day culture. I would choose a different metaphor, honestly saying, because it comes from a different time where those metaphors meant something very different, habitable. We would have to find a different metaphor for, that is why the time and the metaphors change. So now this is Asanga Shastra. What type of weapon, what type of axe is he giving you? A Sangha is copulation. Sangha is attachment. Sangha is our so soaking into, we hear something and we flow into it. We get a company and then we start dreaming. You hang out with a couple of millionaire friends, which my friends here, most of you guys do, and then they tell you their story, and then your mind starts flowing. They do this business and then you start flowing. Because mind is always fluid. Mind is a fluid substance. It flows. Mind is also a substance. It reflects. It doesn't just reflect and go away, though. It's little more than that. So like a mirror, mind is always used. A mirror is a metaphor. But in the mirror, what happens, even if the most ugly person is not being reflected there, the mirror does not get ugly. In the case of the mind, it just gets some of the effect, some of its imprints of what we get into a little bit. It's like a snail trail, when the snails kind of cross through the street and little silky, shiny, slimy thing is left behind. So our mind kind of keeps some of the dust or the slimy things from the creatures that pass along our mind. So the weapon for us to deal with the world is a sangha. No contact. So, no, in the Yoga Vasishta, this is called Asparsa Yoga. Nowadays, when you hear the term Asparsa, untouchable, and then immediately our whole orientation about India and Hinduism goes towards a sort of really negative, dark gully. The idea was that if you are doing your business, do not touch anybody. Why do you have to mix up with everybody? Why can't you just go and sit in your cave and do your meditation? And when you are hungry, go and eat. Pull out roots, and just be happy with it. No, we mix up. Life in itself is itself, life itself has its challenges, like disease, decay, old age, and death. Even Buddha kind of highlighted that. You get old and you die. That's one of the Four Noble Truths. And so it's already, we know where we are going. But then the more we get in contact, contagious. Mind is very contagious. And it would be good if we were to take great ideas. But the thing is, great ideas are like the musk wrapped or the sandalwood. Huh? Like, you may be carrying a load of sandalwood, you may still not know that you are carrying sandalwood. Because without rubbing, you don't get all the fragrances out. Good things are like that. Yeah, because yesterday in our conversation, somebody said, why do good ideas need cultivation like this? I'm a farmer, so I know weeds you don't need to cultivate. They just come out. You need to pull them out. But the plant you really want to cultivate, you have to pay everyday attention there. So good ideas are always weak. We should never say, if it is good, then it should be strong. Sometimes people say maybe these ideas deserve to go away because they could not survive on their own. Good ideas do not survive on their own. They need protection. Bad ideas do not need protection. They are contagious, like a rotten flesh. Look at the difference between sandalwood and a rotten flesh. You don't need to check, where is this smell coming from? Rotten flesh smells everywhere. Sandalwood, you have to rub to get that. So Asanga is the first yoga. And what he meant, and Gaudapada, another, great grandmaster of Shankaracharya, he also in the Gaudapada Karika, he discusses Asparsha Yoga, Sparsha Yoga, Vainama, Durdarsha, Sarva Yogi. So there is this extensive conversation on both the texts, Yoga Vasishta and Mandukya Karika, on the Asparsha Yoga, which means the same, derived from Asanga, basically. Tatah padam tat parimarkitamem yasmin gata nannivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prapadya yata pravritti prasita purani. So what we get in the next verse, there is this repeated cycle. We have understood this as you come down to the earth and tide and suffer, become old. We want to finally get rid of it and then be liberated. That is a generally understood perspective. I do not believe that interpretation. My thinking is that is a wrong interpretation. And what does it mean then is our repeated attachment to the world objects. So coming to the world, you do not need to just be attached to worlds. We actually develop attachment as we grow, and in a real baby's infants, there is no real attachment grown there yet. So attachment is very much cultural, very much given by language, and very much like people are attached to something in some parts of the world, other things in other parts of the world, the way we appropriate beauty or what to achieve in life. All these things are culture sensitive, culture contextual. So this to me is, as long as we do not free ourselves, the same illusion, like the best example would be mirage, mriga marichika. Like you see water and then you go and then you realize it's not water, and then you see there is water up there. I was just fooled, water is here. I should be going another half a mile down, and then you go. That is everyday life. Most people would not even want to hear that you do not have to live that life, because that's the only life we know. Because I look down, a mile away, and then you mean like 6 months down the line, or, some goal, whatever is the next thing to achieve, like a promotion, assistant professor to getting a tenure, and from tenure to getting a full professorship or grants. It's a kind of a course in different grades, like looking for another grade if you are in a school. That is the only structure of life we know. We don't even think that this is arbitrary. We do not even consider that if we do not make these steps, life is not going to be in any disarray. Whatever the plan we have made to make life easy has not made life easy. Whatever the deadlines we have given for the progress in our life has not helped us progress in our lives. That is, for me, is a sense of not repeating back. I know we can go to literal meaning, but I'm just picking up the sense from the top. Gives us couple qualities. Padam avyayam tat. Tat being the sense of Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho. The next verse will come. So this word tat is equal to sat. The same meaning, that. When we are saying the demonstrative that, it is meaning the same thing as the absolute. This tat, that, is the name of the God. That we do not call it whatever the name is. In the absolute sense, it is just that. It is not in any form or name that we can find or relate to. So how do you go there? Nirmana moha. The fundamental, everything is listed, and I am happy to say that I may lack every single of them. So that is number one. We have what? Man, arrogance. This is me. Moha, delusion. The first is the delusion about myself with the nirmana. That is first referring to, there are two types of misconceptions the first word is referring to. One is the misconception about me, another is the misconception about you. About me, I'm the beautiful one and amazing, I'm the best person out there. About you, you are here to serve me. Or you are here for something to fill my objective, the world, the whole relation in the world. Yusmadasmat, Shankaracharya begins with Bhasya in Brahma. Yusmadasmat pratyaya gocharayo vishaya vishayano tamo prakasavad viruddha svabhaya. So there are just two pratyayas, two concepts, the concepts of I and you. This is where all the problems are. I and you are not the problems. Whatever I think about me and whatever I think about you, that is the problem. And that's a family problem too, between husband and wife problem too. And the wife thinks you are born to buy jewelries for me. That's what husbands are. Husbands are made for the credit card so that I can go do shopping. I'm just kidding. So I can be balanced. I'm after all in a male majority group. So I don't want to offend my circle. These days we have to be savvy, So anyway, Jita Sangha dosha. Again, the dosha. Sangha is the word we already discussed at length. That's a contact. That's an association. Sangha dosha. As soon as we have this sangha, we have the dosha. Defects. How to conquer the defects of association. But what if there is good association? Then this is not the problem. The verse is not talking about, therefore you need to have the good sangha. That's the reason, because the amount of time we spend for cheap sangha, cheap talk, idle talk, sangha, we have to arrange a once a month Bhagavad Gita discussion, and that might happen while only occasionally, and everybody has to, cut their time short. So many other things going on, and check out these. When we have to do one meaningful thing, We start burning ourselves. Oh my God, so many deadlines, so business meetings. I could have done this, I could have done that. You have to do 1 hour of sitting and meditation, you immediately realize you are so busy. If you have to just sit idly and watch a series one after another, you have infinite amount of time. I mean, I'm talking about me particularly. You know, that's a lie. Jita Sangha, those that's therefore good Sangha doesn't give us that attachment, but that's rare. Mostly the way we spend our time goes to the type of Sangha that determines our rest of the course of life, where we get tired more and more. Vinivritta kama, I'm talking about the kama, the desire. Why would desire be so much a problem? Why are these people obsessed with free yourself from desire? I'm not the one to free from myself from desire. The idea is I'm not there yet to be Dandi Swamin. But there is a path. We all have to sacrifice our desires. The first thing I tell to my 100 level students, the only way you can pass this class is if you are going to cut 50% of the things that you want to do. That is already yoga. Everything you want to do in your life, whatever you want to achieve in your life, comes only when you can sacrifice 99 other things in your life. I was having this Skype conversation with my high school buddy from Nepal yesterday. And he was lamenting about him not being successful in anything. And we are buddies, so we can talk bluntly. And my thing was, in the educational sense, his life is more successful. I was not trying to be polite. I sincerely mean it. In an educational sense, his life is more successful, but in the normal everyday use of success, he's not successful because that is achievement sense. So what I meant is somebody made a simple routine to start walking from here in the same direction or taking a boat or whatever, and all his life he kept doing the same thing. He might make 3 circles of planet Earth and you will have his name left behind. That's not really educational model, in my opinion. You have a name for doing something, consistently doing the same thing. Other model is you enjoy your family time, you enjoy your friendship time, you go to politics a little bit, you tried business, you even tried making films at one time, and you try everything. At the end of the day, education-wise, you know a lot of things. In the sense of success, yeah, you don't have it. But if you consider just learning from life lessons, then he has more life lessons. And everybody would say he's a failure, but in the sense of getting all the lessons, he's not a failure. So this is like Vinivritta Kama. You, for any goal, we are very goal-oriented people. So for one goal orientation, you still need to free yourself from 99 other goals. And Dvandvair Vimukta. Dvandva is two opposites. The everyday use of Dvandva is Sita Ushna, cold and heat. Other is Sukha Dukha, like pain and pleasure. Always seeking pleasure and never ready to get any pain. But there would be, you can imagine all types of Dvandva. Because you say go right, and then she says, no, today we should go left. That is where Dvandva, the conflict begins. How to free yourself from these conflicts. And then Sukha Dukkha Sangha. He defines a particular dvanda. The particular dvanda is looking for Sukha, avoiding Dukkha. Nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants to be happy. Even the people who are doing the dumbest things in their life. I've seen one yogi who decided to just stretch hand up all his life, and its hand is dead. You're the doctor, you would know. He had been doing that for 14 years when I saw him, and there's no blood or nothing. It's just a stick. So another guy had decided to just stand on a single foot, and then the fat was oozing out of his feet, you know. So if I tell you that he's doing that to be happy, you would say no. But he is. Because in his belief, he thinks that by this self-torture, there is heaven waiting for him. You know, you go to different cultures, then you might find some other grotesque examples. I'm feeling so funny already. But the desire for sukha can lead us to do all kinds of strange things. And mostly dumb things, honestly. Because you can be conned only when you have a weakness. You are looking for something, and the guy comes exactly what you are looking for, you are sukha dukkha. So wisdom is, okay, I'm not really looking to be happy, then everybody will say no, but no, there must be something, sir. Let's find it out, you know. So this is why to find freedom, because ultimately moksha for me, one of the things I have been trying to do is de-esoterize. You know, we have made it so mystical, everything is mystical. Moksha has been, liberation means something outside of the world. For me, moksha means freedom. And freedom doesn't need to be outside of the world. Freedom doesn't need to be only political freedom. You know, in modern world, when we talk about freedom, people only talk about some kind of economic, socio-economic freedom. What happens if you are not hungry? You know, then there are higher things that we are kind of tied with. So the freedom, that's moksha. Natad bhasayate suryo, easy verses are coming. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. It's like a tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. This is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So in the Upanishad, this is the light of the light. There is this lengthy conversation between Maitreyi and Yajnavalkya. No, this one is from Gargi and Yajnavalkya. So this is like whose light is coming to illumine this, whose light is coming after that. What is the ultimate light of the world? You are the ultimate light of the world. Because if you are not there, the sun is not shining for you anymore. If you reverse your gaze, even the day would be like dark night, and then the sun gives light to everything else, and then the light goes out in the world. So the ultimate source of light is your own self-consciousness. When you are aware of yourself, that is the ultimate light. That is why this is not. There's an 11th century philosopher, Abhinavagupta. He uses a beautiful metaphor. What is this? His metaphor is of a torch. Like nobody uses a torchlight to see the sun. You know, the same way, this is the light that sees everything else. So consciousness is the ultimate light. Natad bhasayate suryo. That is why this is not illumined even by the sun or the moon or the fire. Why? Is because if there is the self, then the sun or the moon can illumine objects. If there is no sun, there is no light. But even then, as long as you are there sitting in a cave too, there is still something you can at least see, means feel your presence. Something is still being illuminated. So the light of the self does not go away even when there is no sunlight or firelight or the moonlight or anything else. Then this is like Tad Vishpulinga Bhudaha Jiva. That is now he's going actually from Kene Shitam Padati Preshitamana. Kene Upanishad, you will find the reference Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That's a, and then in the Chandogya too, I have to refer to two texts today for the same verse, because one is for how you yourself are the spark of the divine. Mamaiva Amsa. Amsa is spark. Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta, as a living being, as soul, eternally there. Prakriti Sthani Karsati, so it just keeps running around within, dwelling in the nature. But another example which I was thinking of tracing from is the Yatova Imani Bhutani, that I think Jayante, Yena Jatani Jivanti, Yat Prayanti, Avisham Vishanti. So this whole thing comes out of the singular source and goes back to the same source. And that is me, and that is the world outside. So there is not a real kind of categorical difference between not just me and you, but also this, the objective world. By this I meant the world, the material world. The material world is not something different from your essential being. You are not different from the material world. And as soon as I say that, I annoy most of the spiritual people, because what it amounts is, at the end of the day, you are not like a really outside entity, and this being the dirt, the matter, inertia. Ultimately, if this is the singular divine presence, that earth is also the same divine presence, and the water is also the same divine presence. What is the consequence of this philosophy? The consequence is, just like I can't treat you as a trash, I can't treat trash as a trash either. So there is a very big reversal in our approach to seeing the place, our place in this world. So, Shariram yad avapnoti yad chapi utkramiti shwara grihitva etani samyati vayur gandha nivasayat. This is like, this is a beautiful metaphor here. I was thinking of another Chandogya metaphor. Just like the air, all the fragrances go merge in the air, Vayur Gandhaniva. So whatever comes in the body, you carry that and move on. But there is another beautiful metaphor in Chandogya. Think of the honeybee. It's a Madhuvidya. Think of the honeybee that goes from one flower to another flower to another flower. And then these bees just take all the pollen and the nectar from the pollen, and then they just put that nectar. If we were really smart, if we had the tongue to capture the flavor of 10,000 different flowers separately, because they all have different flavors. I'm pretty sure of it, So we would be testing 10,000 different flavors. But no, just like when it becomes honey, there is this sweet nectar of honey you have as the essence. The same way, this is our already final destination. That at the end of the day, we are all these different flowers. What is scary is I may not like you, you do not like him or her, but at the end of the day, this different flower that makes me, I am the rose and you are just jasmine. How dare you try to come to my level? But the soul, whatever you like to use, consciousness, mind, its pure aspect is the rasa. The text is using the term rasa and madhu. What the essence, ultimate essence, when it goes at the end, is that in that honey, all our differences are dissolved. And this is pure sweet honey left. So that is where we need to not forget that, or try to not forget that in our everyday social transaction. Shrotram chakshusparsanam cha rasanam ghanam eva cha adhishta vishayan upasevate vanjanama vimuda nanu pasyanti jnana chakshusha. So what happens is, like, whatever you are doing, the essence is you could be walking or sitting or running, whatever you are doing, or you will be using your sense organs like ear or eyes or touch or taste. So you are always in contact of this being, which the wise people, jnana chakshu. Jnanam chakshuhu yasya sa jnana tesham te jnana chakshusha. So jnana is wisdom, chakshu means eyes. You have two types of eyes. One is the eyes of the flesh. Another is the eyes of the wisdom. You know, when you are learning basic equations and then you remember, first you do not know how this is to solve. And then you, all of a sudden, your teacher explains this is the way. And then you see, oh, I see. You know, it clicks, spark. When I'm struggling, mostly I translate. When I have time, I keep translating from Sanskrit, and then one word has 100 different possibilities, and then I have to struggle through all these possibilities, and then trying to relate. And then at the end of 2 hours of 4 hours of brainstorming, the moment comes. Sometimes does not. But when it comes, and then there is this light, spark. Oh, I see, that was what was going on. That is the different type of eyes it's talking about. So they see. No, it's not seen with the flesh eyes, it's seen with the inner eyes. And nainam pashyanti achetasa. So yatanto yoginas chainam pashyanti atmanyavasthitam. Yatanto pekrita atmano nainam pasyante chetasa. So the idea is, once our inner sense organ, our mind basically, is more pristine, we start seeing this inner wisdom of one ultimate harmony. That's the one thing to see. If we are ultimately in a singular harmony, then why is there non-attachment? Why were we discussing about not mixing up? Ultimately, we are all one. Why does it matter then? It's because everybody is not seeking to recognize this harmony. Therefore, everybody is seeking to run out of the real nature. So therefore, on one hand, we started from Asanga, but at the end, Asanga is not the goal, because at the end, to recognize a unitary, singular oneness. So that's Yat Chandra Tattejo Vidhi Mamakam. Again, the light metaphor repeats again that Yad Aditya Gatam Teja Jagad bhasayate akhilam yat chandramasi yat agno tat tejo vidyamakam gam prithivim avishya. So ga is also, for go has 14 different meanings, by the way. Go can mean also speech and earth and a cow for that matter. So this word has multiple meanings. So when Krishna says, I penetrate through go, it could mean go in earth and then, cultivate food so people can have it, or could mean in the speech I merge and that the truth can come out, the divine can manifest through the speech. So it can mean, and Pushnami Chaushari Sarva. So they Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka. Again, now that we got into this rasa metaphor, that in on earth there's a life substance. This, if you read Prasna, Upanishad of Rai and Prana, amazing text on the meaning of life. It's not about, it's a beautiful relation between Rai and Prana and the life and the wisdom and in all account. But anyway, here, to nourish that, what is soaking? Food, ultimate philosophy. I was telling you, Srijana, be ready. So ultimate philosophy is the philosophy of food. I was complaining to my friends yesterday that why do you food, everybody says, oh, I don't eat this anymore. I don't eat dinner anymore. We are being so mechanical that I sometimes pull on this. I'm running low in gas. I need to charge my battery, and you can collect all those metaphors. But metaphors mean more than literal words. Because why? Because now machines are being more and more human-like, and humans are being more and more machine-like. And we have given this metaphysics, meta-philosophy of our time that denigrates humanity and makes it yet another machine. Our social interaction is the interaction between machines. We have the laws that determine how we are supposed to treat each others, or we go to jail, or we'll be whipped, or we'll be fined. We are not worried about we'll be not feeling loved, maybe we'll hurt someone's feelings. Who cares? I mean, if you find that the man, you are driving so fast, you hurt me, you hurt my feeling. The traffic police is just gonna come and give you a ticket. You don't hurt his feelings. Who cares anybody's feelings anymore? So you have these contracts before you get married, because that's like, okay, these things need to be taken care before. That is what machines are supposed to do. It's a transhumanism. We are already in the phase of transhumanism. And so this is now coming back to Aushadhi Sarva. The divine is present in this flavor. To make some good dish, I don't cook anything. I just do not know, and I tried a couple of times and it was never good. And so I appreciate when I get something good taste. It takes one chef a lifetime to perfect. Kumar Bhai knows what I'm talking about. It takes a lifetime to perfect in making some good dishes. We have no appreciation left because we are machines. The divine is present in that. The book is not saying forget all the flavors, okay? So when it takes you to negative channel, and that is different. When you are stuck to the flavor and you want to do anything just to get there, then that's a negative thing. But aham vaishwa naro bhutva praninam deham ashrita pranapana samayutah vachami annam chaturvidam bhaksha bhogya leya chosya. We don't even think that we have to have 4 types of food anymore. You have to go to India for that. Here, khichdi, you mix up everything. It takes time. It's burritos time, just like put everything in there. Lehya, Chaturbidam, think about that. We need to have 4 different varieties to make it going. So this good sauce, you can suck on, so you can lick lehya, so this is like, who does that? I turn into fire, Vaishwanar, Vishwechate Naracha, Vaishwanar, the universal presence of fire, that universal presence of fire in the living souls in the form of the digestive energy. We talked yesterday a little bit about what it means to be able to digest food. When we were in ashram and we were able to appreciate good food, and we have the most richest person. Now another guy became the richest person. I would not give the name because it's not a good thing to say, but poor guy, that time he was the richest person in the country. He could only have fluids. He could not eat any substance. The richest person in the whole country can only drink. What's fun in there? So God has given this power to you to appreciate food, okay? It doesn't mean that you have to misuse it with the lust or hurt it, like eat nonsensical things, eat other human beings or animals, That is not what it was meant. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the taste. How many ways the God is saying, the absolute, the Krishna, Purushottama is saying, his presence on earth. Gam avishyacha bhutani, I have entered on earth, number 1, right? Number 2, pranapana samagda pachamyanam chatu, I digest the food, he is sitting there. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto, I am in the heart of every living being. Mamai vamsho jiva loke, the very jiva is my very part and parcel. So what happened is we missed this continuum. We created a hierarchy so that we could worship. And we could worship and be okay with it. Because if I am God and you are God, I need to be clear about my relation with you. But if God is up there and my relation is very different, then I can con you and then give a priest $100 and be okay with it. So if our relationship in the community, in the family, is guided by, controlled by the principle of the divine, that this is our divine relationship here on earth, not just between humans, but also with the inanimate objects. My relationship with my food that I'm eating, because in the Chandogya, what the text goes, aham annam, he repeats, aham annam, annadoham. I think it's actually Taitiriya Briguballi, sorry. The annadoham. Another means the enjoyer of the food, the one who eats the food. I am the food eater. There is, and then it goes, the Chandogya way of chanting goes so melodious. And this, I have been in one sitting where this Ahamannam and Ahamannada is sung in all the possible different melodies, go for 45 minutes, Only thing you are hearing is, I am the enjoyer of the food. And then, I am the food. Aham anna means I am the food and I'm also enjoyer of the food. As soon as that enters into belly, do you say, me and my rice? You don't say that. Just, I'm here, when you go to somebody's house, who is there? You don't say me and a pound of, burritos or something. If you just ate a burrito, you don't say Thaneshwar and burrito are here, it just, that burrito becomes you. So we have to change our attitude towards food, that food is something turning into you. When I have couple plants outside and when they are growing, when I pick them, I try to be conscious about the life, not taking away. Because taking away would mean if I throw them, But this life is not other than that life. Because without that food coming into this system does not exist. The life in here is life there. It's a continuum. This is yoga. To understand that is yoga. So matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. It's the whole idea. The one thing is, it's also easy. Aham eva vedya. What is there by all forms of wisdom? I am there to be known. Why? It's not that it is somewhere out there. By Vedasya Sarva, by every single means of knowledge, you are constantly knowing this very self. The self is not something never ever revealed. That is another thing you need to know. Why decisively you do not need anybody's magic formula to realize who you are or grace from anybody, is because that self is constantly being revealed. It is only disguised due to all these deformities and misconceptions and misperceptions and illusions and all those things. But just like if you have the light up, we put one cover like a perforated ball, and then lights coming out in all different disco balls, like light coming out so many different colors. Light is light inside. We are rebranding and reshaping that light to come in so many ways. Light is coming in the form of the ant, in the form of a spider. That same light is coming as a millipede. The same light is coming as a cow or a buffalo or a tiger. That is why we do not kill. Because the light stops. The light has a journey of its own. And always these lights are trying to shine forward. And if they could accomplish their journey, they would get to the higher and better light. And what happens if you get misconceptions, particularly human life is so good. Look at the amount of brightness, the freedom. What does light do? Light gives freedom. Humans have the highest amount of freedom. Not that we are totally free. We are able to realize that we are not free. Others don't have that freedom. I'm very close to be done. Dvau imau purusho loke ksharascha akshara eva cha. Kshara sarvani bhutani kutasto akshara uchyate. There are two purushas, it says. One that keeps on decaying. Another is the kutastha, as the witnessing observer that does not decay. That is where I was referring to this Dva, Suparna, Sayuja, Saka, beautiful. But this is another tree. In this tree there are these two birds. One is the bird that is looking for fruits, people of fruit. It's a fig, Swadhuati Anasnananya Avichakashi. The another bird is like, okay, well, just looks at these birds so hungry and eating and all that. That same has a book has another metaphor. Ajam ekam lohita shukla krishnam bohi praja srijamana sarupa ajo heko jushamanu swete jahate nam bhukta bhogam ajonya. Like that's this metaphor. I'm going to tell you a short story, okay? You have to forgive me on this because I can't handle. My brother, I respect him very much. He's a great philosopher. So this first, I have to tell you the story of the Aja in Sanskrit means without birth. That is Purusha. And Aja also means Prakriti. Prakriti has three qualities, Sattva, Raja, Tama, Guna. So the metaphor goes, there is this Aja, birthless soul, that is not involved with the qualities and running towards world, but the another Aja is totally immersed into qualities and running towards the world. And then this has a double meaning. Aja means a goat and Aja means a female goat. There is this goat and there is this female goat, and this one goat has already enjoyed her and then he's just done with her. Another goat is chasing after her. So this is a metaphor, but the story goes that a friend of mine bought 3 different color stacks of plates and gave as a gift to one Western philosopher. He's an Indian philosopher buying a set of plates and in 3 different colors of black and red and white. And then the Western philosopher called because it's very odd. Why would, instead of getting 12 or whatever meant of the same, why would there be 3 different colors? And then he explained it to him. And then because the plates go to the wife, right? And the Western philosopher explained to his wife that he meant from whatever his book, that these 3 colors meant that, and it also had the goat metaphor. And she got really upset and made him to return those plates back because she thought that he was somehow comparing her with the goat. So sometimes cultural metaphors are so bizarre. Of course, that is a case of willful or wishful misunderstanding. Sometimes what I mean is sometimes you find it weird, but you want to understand it, and then you can get along with it. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, I do not care what he meant. I just want to feel it offensive because I find something alien invading my dinner table, So anyway, whatever was the case, and my friend calls me after getting all the plates back. I'm like, I would be so happy to get those plates. So anyway. Cherat achiro achirada vichottama atosmi loke vedecha prathita purushottama. Why is Lord Krishna called Purushottama? A final Purusha is not in modern contemporary. I had this with a bunch of feminist conversation. They talk about the soul as Purusha. Purusha now in modern Hindi is used for a man, and it's all masculine culture. The word only means Pur, means city, like Lalitpur, Bhaktapur, Kantipur. Pur means city, Ush means to dwell there, to sit there. This is the city, Traipura. This is the Pura of three. Kaya is the flesh, Chitta, the mind, and Vach, the speech. And that is where your consciousness dwells. That is why it is called Purusha. It has nothing to do with whatever the particular stupid thing you have to show around or hide, It has really nothing to do with your gender. The soul doesn't have any gender. It's the body that can or sometimes may not have or sometimes can have multiple genders.
In fact, Atma has a female gender, if we call it Atma.
No, Atman is actually Atma, Atmano. It's not Atma. Yeah. Yo mam evam asammudo janati purushottamam so sarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. So the whole idea is sarva bhavena. Sarvavid bhajati. How to serve the divine? Number 1, sarvavid. You have to recognize the divinity in all forms. Sometimes maybe I'm also carried away by everyday newspapers. I sometimes feel that people who regularly go to church or temple or whatever religious, not trying to be biased, but whatever the thing, it makes people more and more heartless. You have a way to justify your cruelty. I know I'm not supposed to talk those things. It's almost semi-spiritual conclave. But to me, that we are cutting off the divine from the actual presence of the divine right here in the form of you and I, and in the form of this world that is the very body of the divine. And the way I relate to you and the way I relate to this earth is the way I relate to God. There is no another relationship with God, because at least in this chapter, there never has been a conversation that I'm outside of, aloof of it. Even in our enjoyment for food, the God has given us His presence, grace. And in like the blessing for food is common to all cultures. Today is the day. That is what I mean. This transhuman material world where blessings for food sounds ridiculous because it's the energy, charging the battery. So that's seeing the higher essence is not going to reduce what is here, but seeing additional value. What does it mean? It's like there's a piece of art, for example, or you can name it whatever the artist you like. My friend here is the art professor. It's a 100 grams, maybe 200 grams of pigments, little bit of labor of somebody with the canvas, maybe $20 worth, or let's say $100. There is one mechanical way of interpreting art, and then you have labor. Oh, he put 20 hours, or he put 100 hours. That doesn't make art. I forgot who this, the guy who just made one circle. You know who I'm talking about? Just one circle, and that's one of the best masterpieces in the field of the art. So I think that's a Japanese artist. Yeah, that's the Japanese artist. Just one circle. That's the best piece of art. How many hours and what is the canvas? That is not how we evaluate art. That is not how we evaluate life. That's all. The whole conversation of today is the evaluation of life. Iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam mayanaga etad buddhva buddhiman syat krita krityascha bharata. You will be happy. That is the goal. Krita kritya is fulfilled. Because you know what? We have a lot of things. We are just not krita kritya. This is the last point. I should not just goof and let go. Because we are successful, but we are not full. There is a different sense of fullness. Because everybody is feeling incomplete. I am not complete without this thing. Without you in the sense of my objectified you. And there is no krita kritya. There is no fullness. The goal of life is to find that fullness, that complete that circle in our metaphoric piece of art. Thank you so much. Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottama Yoga Nama Panchadashodhyaya. Om भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनोभिर्दशेमहि देवहितं जदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमि स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
We can carry on with any questions.